What's up, y'all? It's your girl Shay Renee, and today we're going to talk about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 14, episode 2. All right. Can I tell you something? If you watch Love and Marriage Huntsville, Ralph might be related to Marceau and Maurice, the way he act. Let's get into it, shall we? All right, y'all. So this episode starts off with Sanya in the kitchen with her sister and her mom, and they're talking about, basically her mom's the mom's latest trip back from Jamaica, I guess, and it's her bringing some patties. There's a whole bunch of hoopla around these damn patties, child, because the mama's panties is in an uproar. She's pissed off. She going back and forth with the girls or whatever. Like anything can set the mother off. Like she is going back and forth with the girls no matter what they bring up. So Sanya apparently has moved. She loves being around her family. She wants her family there in Atlanta, and they're a huge support to her. So her sister and her sister's husband and their 2 children live with her. The mom and her dad live there, and her husband, of course, Sanya, her husband, and their son live together. So there is a total of 9 people in this house, however it shakes out. Okay. So Sanya's sister does her hair, and everybody helps out with her son, and obviously they have their own children to attend to as well. So moving right along, they talk about them moving, and this, Sanya asked the sister, how is she adjusting to being in Atlanta? And the sister was like, it's definitely an adjustment. I'm used to having my own space and dictating my own whereabouts in my home because it was mine, but now sharing a space with other people is very different. So the mom kind of chimes in because she already on 10 at this point. So she's like finding any little chance to argue with them. And she's like, well, you didn't ask how I feel, and that's not how, you may feel different than everybody else, and we all have an opinion about, I had my own house too and had to move in here. And I'm like, okay, mama, child, are you having a hot flash? Sheesh. Mama Sonya, now she young and feisty, child. I can see she don't look like she that mama, but child, she fighting like a young girl. Mama, calm your ass down, get you some flaxseed oil, because you over there tripping, sis. Moving on. So Sheree and Kenya are at Sheree's house, and Sheree finally takes Kenya down into her basement because there was a previous season where I think that was actually Sheree's last season where her house was finally built and she wasn't letting anybody in the basement because it was unfinished. And so Kenya was clowning her about her basement not being finished. So she was like, girl, you gonna come over here and you gonna see this basement, child. So she has her over, and Sheree has Kenya over, and they go down into the basement. Okay. And the basement, listen, honey, it is laid out. Okay. It looks amazing. Sheree did an amazing job with this house. This is her dream home. And I love to see that she's actually maintaining this house. This is her dream house. This is how she wanted it. And, I love to see it. I love to see her thriving. So they sit down, and, Sheree is just like, tells Kenya, I'm super happy with our friendship. Girl, I actually love your ass. Like, I truly do. And so then Kenya and Sheree call Sanya, and they kind of shade Marlo a little bit over her talking about her Bosley hair surgery or whatever, and her basically getting hair implants to have edges or whatever. Then they get off the phone with Sanya, and they talk about Drew's assistant. So basically Sheree was like, Drew left her phone at the event, so her assistant called and was like to basically arrange to get the phone from Sheree. And so Kenya was like, so don't y'all have the same assistant? I heard y'all have the same assistant. And the assistant was talking about how you haven't been paying him or whatever, like kind of gossiping back and forth, gossiping about you to Drew or whatever. And then Kenya was like, and yeah, and then but they having trouble with assistants, period, over there. Cause I heard some stuff about her husband's assistant too, and some massages and all this stuff, child. They got a lot going on in that household. And Sheree was like, yeah, we did. I mean, he technically is an assistant for me at from time to time. I don't use him all the time, but he does a couple of things for me here and there. But he's not, I wouldn't say that he's my assistant. And she's like, I'm definitely going to have to address some things here. And so I'm interested to see, because this assistant, he is a little messy. And I can see that he is just an attention seeker. He did team too much when Candy came over their house. And I was just like, this guy is screaming for attention. And I'm not here for it. Like, he's a clown. But moving on. Drew and her family sit down to eat food that her chef Chastity has cooked. The kids eat and then they go play. So Drew and Ralph chat and she tells him about Candy finding his assistant that he was supposed to fire Instagram. And Ralph says, listen, I fired her. Like, what are we still talking about this for? And she says, well, but it looks like you're still talking to her or whatever. He said, well, I fired her. I didn't say I wasn't going to talk to her. Ralph, y'all talking about massages. If you don't stop talking to this, what are you talking to this lady about? If she's not working for you anymore, why are you still talking to her? What the hell are y'all talking about? Then he goes in and says, I mean, she's a 50-year-old woman. What the fuck do that got to do with anything? Black don't crack. It's some 50-year-old ladies that look younger than some 30-year-olds that I know. Okay. What the hell do her being 50 got to do with tea in China? Child. Leave that lady alone, Ralph. Knock it off. Stop playing with your wife. You a gas. You a little something. Child, I don't see that marriage lasting too much longer because he's a damn liar too. He gives me Marceau Scott from Love and Marriage Huntsville all day. Okay. So moving right along. He says, well, do you want me to stop talking to her? And here's where Drew, I feel like, plays games. Because Drew then says, well, I don't want you to stop talking to her because I'm telling you to. I want you to stop talking to her because you know it's the right, because you think it's the right thing to do. Because if I tell you to stop talking to her, then you're just going to blame me for it. And that's just going to be another thing for you to blame me for. First of all, sis, you just went around the mulberry bush, through Mayberry, and down Capitol Street. Bitch, tell him you don't want him to talk to this chick. Mind you, the fact that he even had to ask, Ralph, stop talking to the bitch. Lose her number, okay? What the hell is wrong with you? And Drew, what the hell is wrong with you? I'd be like, stop talking to her. Block her number. She's not your assistant. There's nothing for you guys to talk about. She's very inappropriate. And if a nigga had said to me, he gonna give me a massage, you'd have been upside and through somebody's head, okay? Stop it. Stop it and knock it off. Stop talking to her. Period. Anyway, so then he says, well, there's a lot of, and she said, because she was like, if I tell you to stop talking to her, you're going to resent me for it. And he says, well, there's a lot of things I resent you for. I resent this marriage. That's what I resent. That's moving on. Because she goes over there and was like, oh my God, so now I'm going to be having anxiety about that, about the things you resent me for. Girl, do the dishes. Bye, Drew. I ain't got time. Next scene. Sheree talks to her daughter Tiara about her pod. This was a quick scene, but I'm glad we got to see Thelma. We got to see Chateau Thelma's owner, Thelma. Okay. Her Sheree's mom was in the scene, and her daughter Tiara was there talking about her podcast, where apparently she talks about sex a lot. So I thought it was interesting to finally see her mother and to see her daughter really all grown up. So in the next scene, Candy is on the phone with Brian Moreland, which she, her co-producer they both produced Thoughts of a Colored Man. And it's a Broadway play that's all Black ensemble that's doing exceptionally well on Broadway right now. So then Candy gets off the phone with him, and then she starts talking to Todd about the play, and how she's feeling overwhelmed and how she's traveling a lot and she can't do it alone. So she feels like Todd kind of is resents her because they used to do a lot of things together, but now they're not doing as many things together anymore because she has so many projects going on by herself, and he's not necessarily her go-to for doing a lot of these things. They're not working together on as many things, and she thinks that Todd is angry over that. But Todd is like, well, because Candy is like, can you basically make yourself available to be doing things around here and handling the kids, because I have to travel and I feel like you're gone a lot. And he's like, well, I know you fucking lying. I know you're not about to complain about me being gone, but you be gone months at a damn time. You getting on me about being gone for a week. And she's like, well, where are you going? And he's like, well, I'm going to Miami. She says, for what? And he's like, well, for leisure. Like, what the fuck? And she's like, okay, whatever, Todd. So she kind of brushes it under the rug. And I'm like, well, Candy, that's kind of a double standard. Like, do you want him to sit around and be Mr. Mom while you out here traveling doing your thing? If y'all got nannies and stuff and he can travel and he ain't out here cheating and carrying on, but he is still there for the kids, he deserves some leisure time too. Even though you are traveling and working, it seems to be like this is what you enjoy doing. You enjoy working a lot and keeping yourself busy. So I don't really see what the problem is, but that's for them to work out. So anyway, then they start talking about some things that they need to do around the house, how the pool house is for the guest house is getting cluttered with shit. The pool is getting cluttered with a whole bunch of stuff. And then they start talking about Todd's condo that he has in Jersey. So apparently Todd had this condo with his ex that the ex wasn't making the payments on. So he somehow ended up getting the condo and now it's in his name. So he's telling Candy is like, well, I don't know why you still got this condo. And he was like, well, it's in my name. And she's like, well, I don't know why you have it. And he's like, well, this house ain't in my name. So what's your problem? He's like, you can have a key to the house. It's ours. Like we can do, it's our property or whatever. And so she's like, yeah, whatever. So anyway, they go look in the pool house. He's talking about taking stuff to the apartment up there to dress it up. Moving right along. They got a lot of shit to clean up. Okay. So the next thing, Marlo meets with Candy in her office, and Candy is dressed in this costume of sorts and doing a photo shoot. So Marlo sits down with Candy to talk about, her nephews, okay? And she's basically asking Candy for advice and kind of trying to figure out how to get them involved and around Candy's family. And so Candy talks about how, so she was, Marlo brings up that, Candy, you'll send a cash app here and there and, you'll send money for things, but I don't feel like you are around enough as much as I would like you to be an influence over the boys. And, you have kids. I would love him to be around your family since you have such a big family. And, just to give them some positive outlooks on big families and what that looks like, just be around a family. And so Candy is like, well, you can't ask me to be what you're not for me. Like, you're not a good friend to me at times. So you asking me to do all this stuff that you don't do. And so Candy is like, she in her confessional, she talks about how Marlo used to date her god brother. So that's how they met each other initially. But once Marlo got on the show, basically she starts showing her ass. And so Candy even had asked her about they had a brief discussion about how Marlo gets her money. And Marlo was like, well, tell them bitches that I strip and my name is Ginger. That's how I get my money. So we're never going to find out how Marlo makes her money. And I'm like, girl, as quick as you got that peach, as quick as it's going to be gone. Because if you're not being transparent and you're not telling your life story, nobody wants to see you on this show. Like, you coming on here with your dry ass reads and coming for people here and there. You're basically still acting like a friend. We're not really seeing much. All we've seen in your house is your kitchen and the boys' rooms. Like, we don't really see much of what you're doing. So it's only 2 episodes. We'll see how it goes. So anyway, she says that she wants Candy to be around more. She asked Candy, she was like, you don't ever invite me over. And she's like, you ain't invite me over your damn house. And she's like, well, come over tonight. Come over and hang out with me and the boys. And Candy was like, well, as you can see, I have this whole get up on. I got to get all this shit off. And the way my time is set up, I ain't got time to be doing that tonight. So as you like it, get on out of here. Okay. So moving on. Ralph and Drew are doing drop it with Drew workouts, and she called Sanya on the phone and was like, "Yeah, we over here working out." And Sanya probably over there like, "Girl, I know you fucking lying. Y'all ain't working out shit." I'm like, Drew, this whole workout line stuff, I'm not buying it. Like literally, I'm not gonna buy it. Like I don't know who will, but whatever. Keep you like it, I love it. So then, Ralph pulls her off to the side, smiling like a damn Chester cat, talking about something, he's planning something for her. So keep her schedule clear. So in the next scene, the guys meet up at Blaze, Ralph, Todd, and Aaron, and they discuss kids, how Aaron wants to have more kids, and it's a struggle to get Sonya to do it. And they also talk about Ralph and this whole assistant situation. So Ralph's sitting over here lying like he do. It's very obvious. He is the worst liar in America. Like seriously, you can see right through it. And the guys are looking at him like, dude, you full of shit. Like just Todd is like, just take care of your wife, man, and don't be bullshitting. Like, listen, you my guy. I'm gonna go with what you're saying right now. Basically, Todd, like, I know your ass is lying, but get your shit together, okay? So then they briefly talk about Todd and the apartment, and I mean his condo in Jersey, and how Candy wants him to give it up. And he says, it just seems like women always want us to give up stuff, or they just don't like us having something of our own. And even though they're successful or whatever. So they all have their little powwow. And it's going to be interesting to see how they all mesh and interact, because Todd seems to look at Ralph like he full of shit. And Aaron, he seems to be a devoted husband. So he's looking at Ralph with the side eye like, you a grimy dude. You probably not the type of dude I want to be hanging out with. So moving on, Drew gets all dressed up because Ralph surprises her with this dinner. He has this whole glam squad, this dress and stuff put together for her. The people come over, get her dressed, do her hair. They roll out the red carpet. She gets in this luxury vehicle to go, this SUV, and they take her over to him. And he has this whole spread, roses going into this place, have this really nice sit down dinner. So they end up having a conversation, and they, end up talking about some of she's like, I feel like we always be on these really high highs, but I don't like having high highs. And then we have these really low lows. And so I feel like Ralph put this whole dinner together because he's trying to basically tell her, listen, I'm whining and dining you so you can shut the fuck up. Don't talk about the assistant anymore. I don't want to hear anything about this assistant anymore. And basically, if I'm going to do stuff like this for you, don't talk about my goings on, my affairs, and basically don't tell me when you're unhappy with something. Because he says, I kind of wanted this whole night to be like just us kind of like chilling and hanging out, not talking about stuff. I want us to just talk about our issues and just leave that for therapy. What? So she's like, so basically I can't express myself or communicate with you or talk about my feelings because it's going to piss you off. And she even talked about how she feels like she got to walk on eggshells when she's talking to him because she don't want to piss him off. And it seems like everything sets Ralph off because his ass is always fucking lying. That's what it is. And he doesn't want to tell the truth. So you think that you can do all this wine and dining bullshit to basically cheat in peace, so she don't say nothing about the bullshit that you're doing. But even a blind man can see through your bullshit, Ralph. Just cut the shit. That's what you need to do. Stop lying. Stop trying to do all this. Do if you're gonna do these lavish things for your wife, that's cool. Do that because you love her and because you want to do it. But don't do lavish shit and then expect her to cower to your presence and allow you to disrespect her and get away with it. And Drew, stop being a child and arguing back and forth with him over shit that you're not even going to deal with the repercussions of. Like, you need to get answers out of him, demand answers from him. And if he can't give you answers, you need to make some hard decisions. Because do you want to be with a man that has a secret life and you don't know nothing about it? And he always lying, don't never have an answer to some shit, or blatantly telling you that he gonna keep talking to bitches that's clearly being disrespectful of y'all marriage? So Ralph brings up this whole thing. They talk about he says, yeah, and you need to talk to our therapist and figure out how to talk to a man. Who the fuck, excuse me, who the fuck are you? Who are you talking to like that? And she says, yeah, I'm going to set up a session with him so you can learn how to talk to a lady. Thank you, Drew. And then he says, well, Dr. Ken says that you always are coming with these zingers. Like, that's not a good thing. You always trying to come up with these zingers. What do you mean zingers? And she says, well, Dr. Ken also said that you're a maniac. And he says, look at you trying to use stuff that the doctor said against me. Well, what did you just do, sir? So it's okay for you to do it. You can try to talk shit where it comes to me, but I can't call you back. I can't call you to the carpet for the bullshit that you say. Unbelievable. Ralph, throw the whole husband away. I'm so sick of him. This whole story with Drew and Ralph, like, their marriage is trash. Like, this dude, he gonna even say to her, I wish I never did this for you. Like, you know what? Stuff like this, I can't do things like this for you. Because Drew had walked off crying because she's like, well, damn, like, I feel like I don't want to ruin the moment, but I feel like I can't express myself with you. I should be able to communicate with my husband and tell you how I'm feeling. But he don't want to hear that. I don't know what's going to happen with this marriage, but I don't really care, to be honest. I just, it's not even entertaining. It's just, at this point, it's sad that he's embarrassing her like this on TV, and he thinks it's cute. And everybody on the show is looking at him like an idiot. So I don't know, y'all. Episode 2, Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's see how much better this gets. This was a good episode. I'll rate this episode, I'll give it like an 8-9. It's getting better and better. I want to see Candy clean up that pool house, and I want to see more develop with her and Todd's relationship. Positive, and I just want to see more of the ladies, and I want to find out what the hell Marlo do. I want her to tell the damn truth. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please, please, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with anybody else that watches this show too. And I will see you in the next video. Peace out.